Hello and welcome to this edition of The Quest. First, the headlines. Library Science and Information holds two-day seminar. Peer Nasir Ahmed releases 2 books. And retired Justice Kirmani delivers a special lecture. Now the details of these events with your host Umrina. Department of Library and Information Science, in collaboration with University Grants Commission, organized 2-day seminar on emerging frontiers of digital libraries. The inaugural function was held in the Media Auditorium of the university. Welcoming the participants, Head Library and Information Sciences, Professor S.M. Shafi stressed the point that preserving cultural heritage is important as they contribute to our understanding of the past.
Archival collection, manuscripts, rare publications, architectural wonders in the form of monuments, buildings constitute our cultural heritage and national wealth. Hence, UNESCO rightly defines cultural heritage more broadly as the present manifestation of the human past. These are usually those elements of our past that have the capacity or potential to contribute to our understanding or appreciation of human history, or which are an important part of continuing cultural traditions in a spiritual and emotional sense. Cultural treasures are not restricted to scholarly and artistic work only. Other creative products of human beings, such as intangible cultural events, are also a part of this cultural heritage. We see that cultural objects get forgotten as time passes, and unless these are recorded, although the recorded ones have longer lives, they too eventually decay.
In his keynote address, Dean Central University, Himachal Pradesh, Professor Inderveer Malhan said that information technology has not only revolutionized the modern world, but also made life easy for librarians.
The integration of videos, voice, pictures, text, and hyperlinks to other documents is helping us to create knowledge resources that are making the learning resources very amusing, interesting, and engaging. The elimination of the need for physical storage, the promise of cloud computing, which offer us vast remote storage capacities and technological feasibility of simultaneously searching several digital repositories together through federal search processes, is also helping us to further give impetus to digital revolution. Digital information environment is also proliferating non-sequential writing and recording of information. A number of new digital documentary forums like webinars, podcasts, YouTube videos are now being generated. The books are getting unbundled and the journals are getting uncovered. The ideas are now reported and boxed in through blogs.
Vice Chancellor Professor Talat Ahmed noted that going for digitization is very important.
We have to go for a digital form of everything because many times even natural repositories, like we have the sites of archives or where there is a possibility of getting it destroyed with time through weathering, through erosion, and also through earthquakes or flood or anything, even fire, for example. So it is always good to preserve our heritage, our culture in digital form. And at the same time, I am sure 10 years from now, all the libraries that we have in the world will be full of books. So it may not be possible to add any till we go for digitization and electronic form of knowledge.
Assistant Professor, Library and Information Sciences, Dr. Shabir Ahmed conducted the proceedings of the inaugural function.
Application of information and communication technology in libraries has resulted in the creation of digital libraries. Digital libraries serve as repositories and act as a medium for disseminating knowledge. Digital libraries have become platforms for sharing of knowledge, as these provide easy access to information available in multiple formats and thus act as catalysts for extending the boundaries of universe of knowledge.
Later on, various technical sessions were held during the 2-day seminar in which participants put forward their papers and observation.
What users need to know: when the system gets, our intelligent system gets information from the existing system, it should now suggest what user should further know. The system gets the existing information and then it suggests what the system user should know. Number 3, how well these needs can be served to add value to the users. So how all these needs can be met by this system. This is what we propose in our system then, to discover the relationship between the member and their activities. So what activities I am performing, this should have some relationship with the users, and our system should have some intelligence. It should be a learning system that it finds some relationship in it.
This mission they achieve by performing some activities, essential activities which actually form the basis of library and information science profession. The bases are acquisition of the information source, processing of that information source, then preservation of the information source, ultimately auto-preservation, provide information to the person who is in need of that information.
Assistant Controller Examination Dr. P. Nasir Ahmed's 2 books on Dr. Sir Muhammad Iqbal and Professor Margoob Banhali were released in the SP College Auditorium. Mizan Publications Advisory Wing member Mr. Saidur Rahman Shamas delivered the inaugural address.
उर्दू ज़बान के फ़रोग़ और इशाअत में मीज़ान पब्लिशर एक मुनफरिद नाम है। मुख्तसर से अरसे में इस इदारे ने जो कारहाय नुमाया अंजाम दिए हैं वो खुली किताब है। 100 के करीब उर्दू और कश्मीरी में तसानीफ इस इदारे की इनफरादी और पहचान के लिए काफ़ी है।
Dr. Mushtaq Ahmed Ganai of Iqbal Institute, in his review of the book, said that Kashmir is proud of Dr. Sir Muhammad Iqbal being its prodigy.
कश्मीर में अलामा इकबाल की मकबूलियत का सबब सिर्फ उनका फिक्र फहम ही नहीं, बल्कि ये भी है कि इकबाल असल में फर्जंद कश्मीर है। वो खुद फरमाते हैं, तनम गुले से खयाबान जन्नत कश्मीर, दिलस गरीब ने की जाओ नवाज शिराज। लिहाजा बरज़ीम के हर हिस्से बल्कि तमाम दुनिया से ज़्यादा अहले कश्मीर को इकबाल पर फख्र-ओ-नाज़ है। उनके कलाम के अलावा खुतूत में भी कश्मीर का जिक्र मौजूद है।
Former director of Iqbal Institute, Professor Bashir Ahmed Nehvi, in his address, said that Iqbal divided his physical self in 3 parts.
तनम गुले से खयाबान जन्नत कश्मीर, मेरे जिस्म का ताल्लुक कश्मीर की फुलवारी से है। दिलस करीम हिजाज़ो नवाज शिराज़, दिल का ताल्लुक हिजाज के मरकज़ के साथ है। हिजाज अरबी में मक्का मुकर्रमा, मदीना मुनव्वरा, ताइफ, नजद और गौर के इलाके को कहते हैं। और उस हिजाज का हरीम जो है, उसका मरकज़ जो है, उसकी मरकज़ी हैसियत जो है, इसी के साथ मेरा ताल्लुक है। यानी मदीना रसूल अकरम सल्लल्लाहु अलैहि वसल्लम। नवाज शिराज़, ज़बान का ताल्लुक शिराज ईरान से है। ये शायद फारसी में कह रहा हूँ, ज़बान का ताल्लुक शिराज से
دل کا تعلق حجاز سے، جسم کا تعلق کشمیر سے.
Former Chief Secretary congratulated the university for making Iqbal a household name in the state.
میں مبارکباد دیتا ہوں اقبال انسٹیٹیوٹ کشمیر یونیورسٹی کو، جنہوں نے پچھلے 2-3 دہائیوں میں اقبال شناسی کام اس عروج پر پہنچایا ہے کہ آج کل ہمارے نوجوان بزرگ جو شاید اقبال کے کلام کے ساتھ کہیں ہی ان کو اس کے بارے میں آگاہی تھی، لیکن اس طریقے سے اقبال کی اس کی محبت کشمیر اور کشمیریوں کے ساتھ، ان کی ضرور حالی کے ساتھ، اور پورا جو ظلم اور ستم کا زمانہ چل رہا تھا وہ خود اس کے جو دیکھ رہے تھے اپنے آنکھوں سے، ہمارے محالی اور یہاں بھی آئے تھے، اس کا جو نقشہ پھر کشمیر کے دماغوں میں، دیواروں میں اور اس سرزمین پر ہمیشہ آتا ہے.
Professor Abdul Haq, former head Department of Urdu, Delhi University, in his keynote address said that although a number of publications have been published on Iqbal, but people are still looking for a definitive piece on the great poet.
تو ابھی تک میں معافی چاہتا ہوں یہ کہنے کے لیے کہ ابھی کوئی ایسی کتاب لکھنے کی، بلکہ ایسی کتابیں لکھنے کی ضرورت ہے جو فخر کے ساتھ پیش کی جا سکیں کہ یہ سرمایہ کشمیر کی ایک گراں قدر خدمت ہے. پروفیسر مہدی صاحب سے میں بارہا گزارش کرتا رہا ہوں کہ ایم فل بلکہ دوسری یونیورسٹیوں کے معاملات اس طرح کے ہیں، بلکہ کچھ زیادہ ہی ہیں، آپ کے یہاں تو کچھ معیار بھی ہیں. ایم فل کے مقالوں کی اشاعت پر ایک طرح کی پابندی ہونی چاہیے، اور ظاہر ہے اس کو ساری باتیں نہیں ہو پاتی، ان کا وہ معیار نہیں ہو پاتا جو ہم ریسرچ کے طلباء سے توقع کرتے ہیں.
The author of the book, Dr. P. Nasir Ahmed, while speaking on the occasion, thanked all those who stood for him in his desperate times.
اللہ کا لاکھ لاکھ شکر کہ اس نے مجھے حوصلہ بخشا، اور اللہ کے بعد اگر کسی اور کا ہاتھ ہے دوسرا، جسے میں دوسرا ہاتھ ہو، میری ماں کا تھا، اور اس کے بعد جس نے مجھے اقبالیات کی طرف پوری طرح راغب کیا وہ تو میرے استاد مکرم، جن کا میں زیر بار احسان رہوں گا اللہ پاک کے بعد، اپنی ماں کے بعد. وہ ہے پروفیسر بشیر احمد نائبی صاحب، جو ایوان صدارت میں اس وقت موجود ہیں.
Vice Chancellor Professor Talat Ahmed opined that the standards of the work on Iqbal should be very high.
صرف نام کے لیے اقبالیات نہ ہو، بلکہ اس کے اسٹینڈرڈز بہت ہی ہائی اسٹینڈرڈز ہونے چاہیے. اور اس کے لیے میں آپ سبھی لوگوں سے گزارش کروں گا، میں دعوت دوں گا آپ لوگوں کو کہ آپ آئیں. ہمارے یہاں کچھ سیمینار بھی ہونے والے ہیں اقبالیات پہ، تو اس میں ہم لوگ یہ ڈسکس کریں کہ یہ اسٹینڈرڈ کس طرح سے مینٹین کیا جائے، اور خاص کر کے آپ کو ضرور آنا ہوگا انشاءاللہ.
Others who spoke on the occasion included SP College Principal Professor Nazir Ahmed Gilkar, Professor Rehman Rahi, Professor Margoob Banahali, and journalist Mr. Shujat Bukhari. President Jammu and Kashmir State Consumer Disputes Redressal Commission, retired Justice Bashir Ahmed Kirmani, delivered a special lecture on role of business houses towards consumers in the Gandhi Bhavan Auditorium. The lecture was organized by the Department of Business and Financial Studies. In his welcome address, Head, Department of Business and Financial Studies, Professor G.M. Sangmi, while introducing the guests to the students, said that Justice Kirmani is a versatile personality.
Justice Kirmani is a scholar, I must tell you. He is not only a lawyer, advocate, judge, but what I could understand from his discourses which I have attended and from other people whom I had interaction with about the person, he is a living scholar. Almost I could understand almost all areas if you ask him to talk about, he has ready-made, I don't know how in our language manufactures those, he has ready-made answers almost, always. If you take humor, you would find it. If you take philosophy, you would find it. If you take religion, you would find him.
He said that this lecture is a part of an initiative of the department to create awareness about the rights of consumers in the society.
Now, they are the future businessmen, they are the future business administrators, they are the future financial experts, they are the future executives who are taking the reins of business in future, inshallah. I believe today's dose which you are providing to them would go a long way in keeping their minds and hearts alive, what is required of a living human being, responsive human being, responsible citizen to discharge and act as good, ethical and moral human beings.
In his address, Justice Kirmani told audiences that Kashmir has its own laws for consumer protection.
Our State Act is in 1987 because in our state we have our special legislative powers and responsibilities. So on every subject we have the power and responsibility to formulate laws, the state laws. That is because of the political and constitutional autonomy that this state enjoys under the Constitution for legislating its own laws. So after 1986 law, the central law, we had a state law in 1987. The feature is that's almost a verbatim ditto copy of the central law, as in case of other these enactments. The first thing there is that they define, as in every enactment you have, before you come to substance of the subject, you define the persons and concepts and phrases and expressions which are used in the enactment.
Justice Kirmani said that commodities or service which a consumer has paid for or asked for should be at par. He appraised the students that there are many laws which tackle the malfunctioning and deficient services for the benefit of customer.
The thing he purchases, the commodity he purchases, the article or whatever he purchases, falls short of the promised or the advertised quality, he has a right vested in him because that becomes a violation of his consumer right. Because he purchased a thing or an article or a chattel under the belief that it has this level of authenticity, it has this level, this quality. And if he comes to know that the level of quality does not completely reconcile with the level that was advertised, or on basis whereof it was priced, or which he was promised to at the time of sale, then he is vested with the right to go for redressal of his grievance which he has faced because the thing sold to him does not conform to the quality promised.
That is all for today's episode. Log on to emmrckashmir.com to watch the latest episode of The Quest. Send us your suggestions at quest@emmrckashmir.com. Before I take your leave, here are a few words of wisdom. Telling the truth once is not enough. You have got to keep repeating different facts, prove the same point. Good night.